Hello, lovely to see you. So today we're going to be creating our own Paper People pictures. I'll talk us through step by step how we go about creating this style. Now I'm going to teach you one particular style, but you may like to adapt it as well. So this workshop has been inspired by Fiona Watts, who was the author of 365 Things to Do with Paper and Cardboard. And then from there I've just developed it a little bit and we will have a go together now. So for this piece I have a little story in my head. So a boy is walking the dog with his older brother, it's night time and they're heading for a little bit of stargazing. So that's my story for this one. Then these other ones I made at a different time. I chose to make 3 individual characters and then I cut them out. That's why they're standing off the page a little bit and they're showing lots of different emotions. Also, some of them have little accessories on them. So the first one, she has a flower in her hair. You can add things like that. The second has a cap. So you can choose if you'd like to add extras too. And then also, you don't even need to do paper people. I've got a hot air balloon here, which I'm going to cut out and add to my scenery. So for this workshop, we'll want some card. You'll also need some tracing paper, that's like the translucent, very thin paper in your craft box. Then we'll need some collage papers. So these are simply papers that I've cut up. All of these papers in fact, were cut up from a magazine that I no longer wanted. So it may be that people in your home might have finished with a magazine, ask them beforehand, and if they have, then that's a lovely way to reuse the paper. So that's this. You'll also have some in your craft box too. Then we'll need a pencil and a pen, can be a biro, pair of scissors, and then a glue stick and a rubber. Okay, so once we've got all this, we can start. So I'll just clear the decks, ready to go. Now, when we're creating our picture, we can tell a story from it. It might be that you have really enjoyed maybe going out to the park or playing with your friends or meeting up with a grandparent, anything like that. You might like to depict that and show it in what you create. But that's up to you. You could make your characters up as well. So what we'll start off with is our plain sheet of paper. And we're going to be starting by drawing the character's head. So what we do is we start by drawing a circle on our piece of paper. So remember, you're drawing in pencil. That can be quite sketchy because you'll be going over it in pen anyway. So with the nose, you go all the way from the top of the forehead all the way down. It's a bit of a funny nose, but that's what the style is all about. And then the eyes, and then your choice of mouth. So now I'll go on to the hair. I think I'll just do a little bob. And then with this style, there's no such thing as a neck. So you're going to go straight down to the body. So I'm going to go straight down to the torso, and then I'm just going to pop some arms on. Again, they come straight from where the neck would be, so between the head and the torso, the body, we're going to draw the arms. Now you might like to do them stretching up in the air or out to the side, whatever you'd like. Pop some little hands on, and then the legs. Again, these can be sketchy, it's part of the style. So pop these on. Now we'll swap the pencil for a pen. So I'm going to start with the face, I think. So I'll just do as neat a circle as I can there. And now I'll do the hair. I may add a little bit more to this. I'm not restricted in just what I've drawn in pencil. Might add a bit more to the top. Might add a bit more later as well. I'll have a think. And then I'm just going to go on to do the arms. Now you can see I'm almost doing double lines on the arms. I'm going to do the same with the legs as well. It's just the style. It gives it kind of a sketchy look rather than perfect lines.
then I'm going to go on to the body. Again, I've done some double lines there going back and forth, and same with the legs. Now with the nose, that goes straight from the top of the forehead all the way down. It's a stylised thing, this. And then I'm going to go on to the eyes, and then the mouth I'm actually going to change. I'm going to do that in the middle rather than on the side. Okay, and then I'm going to use my rubber and I'm going to rub out the pencil behind it. Now if you're using an ink pen, just be careful because it will smudge, so you might need to leave it for a few minutes first. Then I've got my tracing paper. I'm going to lay this over my character. You can see I'm using the corner of the tracing paper here, so I'm not wasting it, and I'm just going to do the body in the colour. So I'm tracing it over, not exactly, I don't mind it being a bit off. Again, it is actually part of the style. And then I've chosen the colour, this deep red, that I want her clothes to be. So I've turned that piece of paper over. I'm turning the tracing paper over. That's a really, really key point. And then I'm scribbling over the back where I've drawn it. So really remember that you need to turn both pieces onto the back, otherwise it won't work. And then you'll see it's actually come up really, really faint. It'll be really hard to see on the screen, but it's come up really faint. If you want a bolder outline, just use a lighter piece of paper. Then I'm going to cut that out. Once I cut it out, I'm just going to make sure that it fits, because I can always edit it slightly. Once I'm happy, it's always good if you have a scrap piece of paper around just to glue on the back of a scrap piece of paper to stop your glue getting on the table. That's what I've just done there. And then I'm just going to stick it down to her body. There we go. I can always add little extras now, and I think I'm just going to add a little bit more to the hair just to show the strands of hair. I think it just needs filling in a little bit, so I'll just do that now until I'm happy with it. Okay, there we go. So now I'm just showing a few different facial expressions that you might like to do. So again, all have the noses already. You could do the normal dotty eyes. You could do eyes to one side as if they're looking one way, or to the other side. You could have an U-shaped eyes, or semicircles the other way, or straight eyes. Again, they all convey different expressions. Then in terms of the mouth, you could have just a little smiley face, a sad face. You could have a smiley face to the side, or a big smiley face, or a surprised, or just a straight face, maybe they're sleeping. So the positioning of the arms and legs is also really important. You can see this character here, her arms are up in the air, her knees are bent, as if she's jumping around in happiness. Whereas in contrast with this boy here, his arms are down, and you can see by his facial expression too. With this last character, her arms are out wide, I imagine as if spinning around, and so you can convey different characters and moods depending on how you position certain features. So once I've done this, I can then either leave it as a piece in itself. I might want to draw more around it, or like I did with these ones, I can cut them out, make them as their own little characters. So that's what I'm going to do with this one. So I'm going to cut her out. Now it may be that you just want to really roughly cut out, maybe just kind of a rectangular shape, or you may actually like to cut round the body like I did here. Okay. Then also with the balloon, that's something that I'm going to do on this one. Create my scene. So it may be that you want to then keep these pieces as individual pieces, or you may like to stick it onto another piece of paper. So for example, I could get just a plain sheet of paper and have my balloon and some of my other characters that I've finished. So I may like to use it as a card, I may like to write a message on the top,
That's totally up to you to decide. So once this is finished, again, very easy to pack away. A lot of the paper, if you're not using it, can be recycled. And like I said, you can use newspapers, you can use magazines, you can use wrapping paper. So this one here, this is just a piece of wrapping paper that was going spare. I cut up my old cards, my birthday cards I no longer needed. I cut those up as well. Some bits of newspaper. In fact, this boy's hat, this was made of a little bit of newspaper. So you can add accessories to the paper people as well. You could add necklaces or scarves around the head or flowers in the hair, whatever you would like. So I hope you've enjoyed and enjoy experimenting.